Alrighty. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What is going on, everybody? Let me go ahead and get everything set up here for you guys. As you can see, we are on a laptop. And now you can see much more of the screen here. Yo, the live on YouTube. Here, come over here. This is what it looks like live on YouTube. So Riverside just puts that up there. That's so we don't even care about the quality. Nobody can see it anyway. Wow, that looks whack. Because you can't even have an option where that. There must be an option where that box or whatever goes on top of the screen. But that is pretty. It's kind of whack. Yo, Dan, what's up, man? What's going on, everybody? All right, best name to watch tape on is obviously GFAI. Is obviously GFAI. We're gonna watch this tape all freaking morning, okay? And coincidentally, too, I started shorting last night, and boom, we have a monster move up. So in tape and in trading, we got to show the good, you got to show the bad, you got to show it all. So I actually got caught in this yesterday, and this is kind of it's more of an emotional kind of thing. And it's like, you want to take this thing down, you want to short this thing, and clearly this is not yet a short. So the best tape and the best execution here, you're just going to kind of watch as I kind of stick and move and find a way out of this thing, similar to as I did yesterday here. So I already have about an 8,000 shares short on the GFAI, and that's what we're going to start the day with here. Pre-market here, what you want to do is you want to start getting your theories going. Right? You start getting your theories going, start getting a list of names that you kind of want to play, start getting a feel for where the market is. In tape, you always want to kind of look behind and then kind of, keep a zoomed out picture and then zoom it in, So where are we at on the SPY? That's always the first conversation when you come into the market, and you're going to try to figure out some kind of a theory here on tape. Where are we at on the market? We're kind of in this chop range, right? So we're bottom end of this range is probably 407. High end of this range could be anywhere from 411, 412. We hit a bunch of those areas yesterday, and then couldn't really do much with them. All the news has been inflation and all this kind of stuff, and nothing is kind of big enough to push us out of this kind of zone. So that's that's where you want to zoom out. So if you know we're in chop, right, what are the chances you're going to get a breakout or a breakdown? Especially considering we're about to walk into earnings season, right? So that's going to make things more choppy as well. Tomorrow you got earnings from banks and all this kind of other stuff. So, overall, do we have a direction, right? Do you have a direction, and how much conviction do you have on that direction, right? So overall, for me, for large cap world, I've been watching these banks, kind of waiting for a bounce. It hasn't really happened. As you can see, I got a long-term position on this KRE for some May monthly options that I'm kind of hanging around to as well. If you scroll through a bunch of your names, right, AMDs, the Nvidias, they sold a lot of the tech names yesterday. So maybe they maybe they continue to do that today as well. Who knows? Everything now is about watching where the flow is going, okay? And that's something that, of course, the steam room here in Wall Street Jesus provides in our community here. And what you'll see on those on that flow actually for the last couple of days is just a lot of dip buying still still a lot of dip buying, a lot of buying out, to May, to June, to the summer here for the same names that they've been buying, NVIDIA's, the Teslas, um, so now we have these wide ranges, right, every single day, but we're not breaking out and we're not breaking down, right? So the question is on SPY, where do we go for the day? If you have no idea, which to me, I have absolutely no idea, then it's kind of, for me, I start to write options. I start to kind of do all this other stuff and try to capitalize on non-movement. Or you can find some crazy ass stock like GFAI to mess around it. Now, granted, it's it's obviously not that easy. So let's start drilling down on the tape here. Okay. So first couple of things we want to do is assess and take a look at our level 2, and we want to see if there's size anywhere, right? So if you notice here, there was 1,500 shares right there at 33.99. That's the first thing you want to notice, right? And then if there's shares sitting on the bid, shares sitting on the offer. So now there's 3,000 shares somewhere at around 3, right there at 56. Now, you have to get used to your particular name, right? Every single name is going to be completely different. This GFI is a wild ass name right now, which is going to make things. You have to spend time with it. That's why also tape is not something that you just pick up and boom, all of a sudden you're in there. I had 1,000 shares to get out at 33 and change. Now you can see there's a good amount of sellers, right? Sellers step down, and then all of a sudden you saw a huge kind of market order push the market down. And we'll do this in real time for the next several hours here. So you can kind of see a seller now pop back up, right? So now let's take a look at all this. Let's see how strong this seller is, and let's see if other folks start to decide to sell in front of whoever this market order that just went off from 35 and change. Now, people are going to ask me, what is a market order? How do you know it's a market order? Okay, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that as well. But right now, see, you saw it again, right? So you saw a bunch of prints push the tape down, and then you see a seller kind of hold it down right at 33. Let's see how much size they got at 33. Notice how much they printed here at 33. We know this guy's got more shares to sell at 33 because they've already printed about 2,000, and he's still here, which means it's kind of a refreshing order. Okay, what does that mean? That means this guy's not showing as much. This guy's not showing what his true size is. Okay. So you can see all these orders go off at 33. Somebody's buying into 33, but this guy's still here at 33. Clearly, they've bought more than the 2,000 shares that are posted or the 100 shares that are posted or whatever the hell it is. So that's how you know the guy's got more behind him, right? So if I'm short, it's a good sign, right? Because we don't know how much this guy's got behind him. Now, look, they just printed it. So now let's see if he reloads. Let's see if he reloads. And when I say they just printed it, that means that guy at 33 is no longer there. Okay, so now let's see what happens as a result. Now remember, this thing is nuts. You got to give it some space here. Okay. So what I'm doing here and what you want to do is take a look at what's on the book, but then take a look at where the transactions are going off. So one of the most important things in tape reading is where the transactions are going off. Now, what the fuck does that mean? That means we want to know if the transactions are going off on the bid or if they're going off on the offer. Okay? So this guy popped up a buy for 1,200 shares to the quarter here. And if you notice, people are kind of buying ahead of him, right? So as soon as somebody pops up a bid and kind of provides some confidence, right, and provides a little bit of demand, people kind of buy in front of that person, right? Now, do we know how long that's going to happen? No. But these are the kind of things that are going off in your head as you're sitting here reading this tape, okay? So that's kind of what we're going to do here. Now, 1,500 shares at 70 here. This is a seller. Now, look at this bid that popped up, 2,000 shares on the bid. So now you can see there's more kind of support. There's kind of more support going on. So most of the transactions are going off where? Are they going off on the bid or are they going off on the offer? They're going off on the offer, right? And the more offers that get lifted, the more this thing has that pressure to go to the upside. The more buyers decide, hey, I want to move up my bid, the more that this thing says, okay, in the short term here, you got a little bit of demand here, we're probably going to go higher. Okay. So let's go ahead and watch this together here. 34 here, you got some size here at 34, not that much. Again, GFAI right now is trading fucking hundreds of thousands of shares. 1,000 shares is really not that big of a deal. You know, if you want to see a big buyer or a big seller, you need at least 5,000, 10,000. You know, so let's see what's going on. But clearly, so far in the pre-market, somebody went ahead and took some profit. Somebody went ahead and went market out of a good amount of shares here. So, where's it? 822 here. We're about to open. Okay. And again, look at how wide the spread is, right? The wide the spread is, you get 40 cents, 50 cents sometimes, right? So you're going to get orders that are sent through, through that spread all the time. And again, we're not focusing on every single transaction. By the way, you remember that size that was at 3360, the 2,000 shares? Boom, there's 1,400 shares, there's 500 shares, that's 19, and then that's the other 100 shares. So that's the 2,000 shares that was there. That's how you know somebody sold the 2,000 shares to that person who had the bid up for 2,000. Okay? That's why tape is so important. You can see size on the bid or size on the offer, and you can see how it's being executed against another order, right? If there's 1,300 shares here at 33.25, the only way that this stock can go lower is if somebody fucking sells it. You understand here? Most people don't get this part, right? And it takes them a while. By the way, it took me months to figure this out. It took me months to figure out if this transaction was a buy or a sell, right? And let's ask it to you guys. This 1,400 shares that just popped up on the book here, is this a buy or a sell? Anybody? Anybody want to shoot? What do you think? Take a guess. Take a guess. All right? This transaction right here, is this a buy or a sell? This took me months to figure out, by the way. LW saying mid. Anybody else? All right, Peep Game saying both. Corey saying both. Exactly. Now, everybody who said both is correct. Is correct. Somebody sold and somebody bought. You see how many people, though, are saying buy, sell, off market, blah, 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 all this kind of other shit? This is where people get the most confused. And this is why reading every single transaction is useless. That's not what you're here to do. That is not what we're here to do. We're not here trying to figure out if this is a buy or a sell. That's not what it is. What it is the behavior of these buyers and sellers, right? If I'm sitting on the book and I got 600 to sell on this exchange, MEMX, or whatever the hell it is, all right? Or let's say this is me, 500 shares. You know, if I want to aggressively get my order filled, right, and I don't want to sit on the offer, what do I have to do? All right? What do you have to do? All right? Let's say you got 10,000 shares right here, 33.50, and you don't want to wait. You don't want to wait. You don't want to wait. What do you have to do, right? You got to go market. Now, granted, going 10,000 shares market in a name like this, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Let's say if I sell 10,000 shares in the market, what happens? What happens to this? What happens to this? Crazy Train, you're new to this. Your head already hurts. Well, that's why you got to pay us, bro. So that's why we're doing this. You know what I mean? And this takes time. This took me months. This took me months, Crazy Train. Months to figure out. And still, you know what I mean? So, again, Crazy Train, listen, sit there and listen. This is your precursor here. You're not going to get this overnight, you know. This is like riding a bike kind of thing, but it's riding a complex bike. All right? So sit there, shut up, pay attention. Anyways, for the 10,000 shares in the market, if I went 10,000 in the market, look at how much liquidity is here, right? There's only 400 shares here. There's only 100 shares here. There's only 100 shares here. There's only a couple hundred shares here. If I went 10,000 shares straight, is there enough liquidity? Is there enough liquidity for me to get a good price? Okay, let me put it this way. If I want to sell 10,000 shares and I want to guarantee that I sell it for nothing less than 33, Looking at this book right now, if I went market, do you think that would happen? Do you think that would happen? Why or why not? Okay? There's no liquidity here. There's no liquidity here. There's no liquidity here. So if I went 10,000 in the market, and by the way, we saw a guy go 20, 30, 40,000 shares in the market here, and you see what happened to this. You see what happened to this. Okay? And this is what tape is, right? People look at charts and they're like, oh, yeah, this is what's going on. Nah, man. Nah. That's not what's going on. What's going on is how this thing happened, right? Why does this candle look the way it does? We know why it did, because we're watching tape. You know why it did, because you're watching tape. This is a representation of what is happening here. For anybody who understands what is happening here from a supply and demand perspective, you have a way better chance at understanding what could happen in the future, kind of thing. Okay? So most folks, you're sitting there, you're looking at your charts, you're looking at your candles, you're looking at all this kind of stuff, and all of that is a derivation of this. Okay? This candle does not happen if somebody doesn't say, hey, I got 50,000 shares to sell in the fucking market right now. Just take it. Take it. Take it. You know what I'm saying? It does not happen. Therefore, if you're able to understand it here, then what else can you use for that information, right? If I know somebody's got a crap ton of shares to sell in the market and doesn't give a damn what price they're selling it at, well, what else do I know? You know what I mean? Maybe now this starts pushing the crowd, right? This starts pushing the panic effect. This starts pushing other people to sell in front of it. And then if I look at the transactions and I see all the transactions happening on the bid, aka people saying, you know what, screw my offer, let me sell market, let me just get the hell out of this thing. If I see that happening, you know, consecutively and with some force, then damn it, what am I going to do? I'm going to take 20,000 shares short this fucking thing, you know, and really start to get to work. Okay, now I'm thinking you're getting a lot of consolidation here. You're not seeing heavy supply come out from sellers, but at the same time, you're not seeing buyers that convinced here to push this thing higher. Okay, so we watch more tape. We watch more tape. Okay. So let's keep going here. And again, we're going to do this for an hour here because, as you can see, market hasn't even freaking opened yet. By the way, I've been up since 4, messing around with this thing. I was up about 20 grand this morning. I went to go play beach tennis, and then, wha-boom! All right, market opens. Now, as soon as the market opens, everybody's very jittery here. All right, calm down. Take it easy. There's 3,000 shares here on the offer here. Let's just watch this and let's see if it gets printed. You know if it's going to get printed by looking at the transactions. If you see size go off at 34.30. So that's kind of what we're waiting for, and that's kind of what we want to see. These are all dark pool prints. All right, boom. They swept through that book and then printed this higher. Okay? So that's why we're sitting here printing up right now. Okay? Now, market's open. Granted, you're probably going to have a lot of shorts stuck in from the overnight, you know, that might have to get out of this thing too. So let's watch this tape and let's see if we can figure this out. All right. Okay, now all I'm doing here, there you go. There's a 5,000 share bid that stepped up to 35, right? That creates a little bit more demand. Now everybody's starting to buy in front of it, see? Right? Now you want to see that 5,000 shares step up again. If it does, chances are we go back to highs, okay? We go all the way back to highs, and nobody gives a shit here. But now you know you got a buyer. You know you got a buyer under here. And you know you got buyers here that'll hop across the spread and buy whatever is on the spread because they can't wait for their bids to get filled, right? So they just want to go ahead and hop in. So let's take a look at this. There's a 2,000 shares here at 35.80. Somebody went ahead and printed that. But again, 2,000 shares is nothing. Now you want to see the character. You want to see the behavior of buyers and sellers after big orders or big moves happen. So notice, after we pushed up to 36, buyers and bids said, you know, we're going to hold this thing up here. We want more of this. Now look at them. stepping up, right? Stepping up bids and people crossing the spread and just buying the offer. Okay, so now let's watch and see if they can get through 36 with some gusto here. Everybody who's asking questions and is totally confused, shut up and watch, and then we'll take questions towards the end. Because again, this is there you go, 10,000 shares. 10,000 shares popped up on the bid. Okay, let's see if it's strong enough to push people, to push this name up through 36. I think that 10,000 shares disappeared. I don't know where it is. Yep, it's not there anymore. Okay, so now we're kind of in a range, 34 to 36 here. I'm not convinced yet that this is a short. There's your sell. Now, that was fast. That was fast. Okay, now remember, the pre-market action is all the way from 28. If you get a move down to 28, I'm going to short the living shit out of this thing. Right, for now, I'm going to chill. Notice the spread, though. It's 50 cents to $1, right? So this is a complicated name to kind of mess around in. You got 2,000 shares sitting at 34, which is no big deal. And then notice, if you see 3, 4 decimals, and if you see prints going off in between the bid and ask, those are dark pools. Those are dark pools. We'll talk about dark pools. Somebody remind me. We'll pull up some dark pools and talk about dark pools a little bit later on. Okay, so now they busted 33 again. 33 seems to be a little level here. Looks like you got 2,000 shares down here in the 50s. Right? You want to see the character change. So now, if the stock is truly weak, what are you going to see from the seller side? What kind of behaviors are you going to see? You're going to see them say, all right, you know what? I want to sell my shares lower. Forget waiting at 33 and a half. I want to sell my shares lower. Check this guy out. Pops up 6,000 shares here, bid 33 and a half. That slowed the selling down. You see that? So that slowed it down for a little bit. Let's see what happens to that order at the half. So far, they've been kind of buying in front of it. There's a buyer that steps in front of it, and that buyer got sold. There's your order. There's your order right there. So that order at 33 and a half, we saw that get filled, right? We saw that get filled. But notice here, even though we're seeing that happen, buyers continue to hold 33, okay? You see there's another 2,000 shares here that popped up here. Buyers continue to hold 33 for whatever freaking reason. I'm going to scroll out and look at a couple other names as well. If you look at techs right now, they look pretty big. Netflix, Amazon, Google, and all this kind of stuff. And usually here, when that sector is bid, market looks good and market goes higher. You always want to pay attention to the market as well, because that's your overall kind of indicator, right? If market goes up, chances are you're going to get more demand on the names that you're watching. Maybe not true with GFAI, but, you know, who knows? But let's stay focused on this. So notice 33 couldn't break. 33 couldn't break, and here we go floating back up to 35 here. Right? Now, do we know that this thing's going to 39 or $40? I don't know. Looks pretty damn strong to me here. So now you see buyers stepping up, and you see all the prints here happening more on the offer. Okay? So that means you got demand picking up, bids are stepping up. Now the question is are they strong enough to blow out 36? Now, SPY here just had a program down. I don't think it matters here for our GFAI. Right, so if you take a look, let's scroll around to a couple of names. You see all these Googles and the Nvidias and Netflix. I don't know what the news is on this Netflix, but for whatever reason, they're buying that shit. Okay, let's go back to some tape here. 4,000 shares on the offer here on NASDAQ. There it goes, right? So there it goes. You see the prints here. They've still got 1,500 shares, printed that, and now we're printing higher, right? So now you got 3,000 shares sitting at 36, which is not much. You got 5,000 shares sitting at 35. Okay, so they're kind of on both sides of this thing, right? I think it's more bullish than anything. That market dump is very interesting. Oh, that GS is down a little bit. The BAC too. Is there a you got a TT2 going on? What's going on over there? Okay, let's go back to that GFAI. Okay, now you notice we're stuck here in this channel. But listen, for GFAI, if as long as this thing doesn't go lower, shorts are going to hesitate. Shorts are going to hesitate, and they have to get out. I think this thing is going to $40, $40, 42, something like that. At some point, we'll see. You got 2,200 shares here at the half on Nasdaq. Folks who are asking about the exchanges, you only kind of want to focus and make sure you know what exchange there's a big size on. Only if there's big size. Now look at this. There's about 100,000 shares sitting on the offer here at 36. So we know there's a decent amount of sellers here at 36. Let's see if they're able to hold this shit down. Boom, they printed right through. Printed right through. Let's see if they reload, and let's see what happens. Notice how quickly they reloaded, right? So 36 printed. We should have just went straight to 37, but we didn't. So there's still a seller reloading at 36, right? Now, how long they're going to sit there and reload, I doubt for that long. Here you go, right? Bid step up, boom. Okay, and again, most of the transactions here are going to start to happen on the offer, right? So now, let's say you take this long here, right? Let's say you take this long here. You stop out around 35 here. Let's see what happens. Okay, and then watch the character of the bids now, right? If they get more, if they get more aggressive, they'll start to move their bids up slowly, 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 sometimes even much quicker. All right, and then watch where the transactions are going off. So far, this looks like a break, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like there's that much gusto here. So now let's see what happens at 36 here. Boom, offer steps right back down, and the market order comes and flushes this thing down. Now you're in a range. You're in a range. Somebody's trying to figure out something. Somebody's getting a position, either long, short. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. But these are sometimes these tough ranges here, where the real move hasn't been shown here. All we know is that they can't sell through 33, and they can't bid aggressively through 36. Those are the two things that we know now. Those are the two pieces of information that we know now. All right. Let's see. Okay, you got 1,300 shares sitting at the half. That got blown out. And then there's a seller here that stepped down to the half. Here's 33. Notice how quickly it just kind of shoots through these levels. And it's not that much. It's not that many shares. That's why, again, you need to understand, if somebody sells 10,000 shares in the market, 20,000 shares in the market, it's very easy to move this thing. If you know that in your head, then you can also create the right execution strategy for it. This shit is insane, which means you have to account for this. So that means if you want to go long, if you want to go short, you need to create the right execution strategy for a name like this versus a name like a Bank of America. If you're trading a fucking Bank of America, it's a whole different story. You're fighting for pennies over here. You know what I mean? You have all the time in the world to get all the liquidity that you want. It's a much different game than GFAI. Okay? Every tape is different. Every person, just like every person is different. Remember, we're talking about millions of people sitting in front of their computers trading this name right here at this moment. Okay? And I'm sitting here reading what all these people are doing collectively at the same time. Once everybody decides to get on the same fucking page, boom, you start to get these clean moves that you can really make some money off of. Okay, we can flip around to a couple of names here, but so far what I'm seeing, I was also on this ENPH. I kind of wanted this thing for a long, but yo, Meta, Damn. Yo, this thing. Do you guys remember maybe a couple of months ago? There was a dude who bought $4 million of the 115 in the money calls for November, and he bought them for like, I don't know. I think it was like $70 or something like that. Those options are worth like 150 almost. Those options are worth 150. This guy doubled his freaking money on Meta in 2 months, man. And it was just a slow churn up. It was a slow churn up, but he fucking crushed it. You know, in this kind of market too. Of all freaking markets. Let's go back to this GFAI. Again, we want to stick to one name here, and we want to wait until we can kind of get something going here. All right, so we had some size there at 34. Notice now they put some offers there. So you get about 5,000 shares here at 34. Remember, we have no clear selling around 33. We got no clear selling around 33. Yeah, that Netflix is bonkers, man. Again, that's an illiquid name too. So anytime they choose that's the name for the day, that thing is up or down 20, 15 points like nothing. Watch this size at 34. And then let's see if this guy's a refresher. They're on the 33.5 here. Nope. Nope. All right, we got 5,000 shares at 34. Let's see if that's able to hold it down. I doubt it. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. And then watch where the transactions are going off. Notice again, when you have wide spreads, you're going to have a lot of orders that happen in between. Those are on the dark pools. That's liquidity that you cannot see. That's why they call it dark pools. All the liquidity that you can see, it's called lit pools. Watch the 34. Watch the 34. Watch the transactions on the 34. If they print 5,000 shares, what do we know? We know it's going to go through 34. Let's see what happens. I bet it just happens like that. See, that's 3,000 that happened on the dark pool right there. So why do people want to get orders filled on the dark pool? Well, it doesn't take a genius to figure this out. Now, actually, you tell me, right? If that guy went market for 3,000 shares, what the fuck do you think would happen, right? If he's able to get out on a dark pool, that means he can get liquidity executed without moving the markets. If I want to get 1,000,000 shares of something, how the fuck do you think I'm going to do it? How the fuck do you think these institutions do it? How do you think these larger traders do it? They don't fucking fuck around with us. They don't mess around with us to get it. They don't mess around with us to get it. So all of this is about theories, creating a theory in your mind and then proving it through the tape. If your theory is short, then what do you need? Well, damn it, you need some fucking sellers. You need some supply. Okay? What you don't need is buyers holding shit up. You don't need any of that. And if you can read it on the tape here, you can either save yourself some money lost, you can make some money, you put yourself in the best opportunity to make it. There goes your 34. There goes your 34. Okay? Now, they reloaded with some offers here. There was a bid that stepped up that got printed. So you can, again, this is chop. This is chop. This is perfect example of chop. Tape that you can't understand yet. There's nothing here yet. All right? So you're waiting. You're in wait mode. Okay? Looks like 2,000 shares stepped down to 33.90. Nobody, I don't know if half of it got printed. Not sure. Not sure. There you go. 34 got printed. Now, let's see if buyers get confident and push this thing all the way back to 36, which is totally possible. There goes 2,000 shares. A bid steps up, right? Chances are people buy in front of them. Watch the transactions here. If they sweep the book, right? Notice they don't do it. They don't do it. So we know, what do we know now? What do we know now? Buyers aren't really strong enough to get this thing backed up to 36 yet. But we still know we got no freaking selling through 33. So do we really have a trade here? Or do we just have a glimmer of one? You know? I think we just have a glimmer of one here. We don't really have shit here yet. Okay, going back to the dark pool conversation. If I need to get 500,000 shares along something, let's say I want to buy Apple. Do you think I'm going to do it in the market with the rest of you fucking Neanderthals? Hell no. Hell no. I'm going to find a way to get filled and get liquidity in between the spread. That way nobody knows what I'm doing, right? Nobody knows what I'm doing. Now, granted, it's just harder to read it. People know. There's ways to find them. But that's how you read this tape. All right? So now, boom, we got buyers here holding up 34. But again, nobody's really aggressively going market long here. Now, does that mean we're going to go down? No. No, it does not. No, it does not. Okay, watch these transactions. There's your sweep, right? Sweeps all the 40s. Let's see if they can go ahead and get this up higher. Apple's up 3 points right now? Damn. All right. Damn. That Microsoft here too, looking good. All right. Okay. There's another market order. There's another market order down. So as this thing was trying to go higher, boom, somebody went market and sold, I don't know, maybe that was 20,000 shares. I'm not sure. 10,000, 20,000 shares. So we do have sellers into these higher prices, but again, nobody is panicking here. Nobody is throwing in the towel on this GFAI. It might just be random people saying, get me the fuck out. Guys, if you want some, some clean trades here, take a look. See if you can get a dip on Apple here. That might look good. Amazon here, because they're buying these names. Clearly, they're buying these names. All right, we're going to wait around on this GFAI. Yeah, you guys want me to switch the ticker. Anybody who wants me to switch the ticker, I mean, I get why, right? Because again, you want the action, right? So you hop around quite a bit. Everybody hops around quite a bit. Remember, the goal for this is for me to teach you tape. It's not about making money right now. This is me to teach you tape. And again, you ain't gonna get it. You ain't gonna get it the first time around. You're not gonna get it the second time around. You're not gonna get it in a couple of weeks. This is what we do in detail during the master course. All right, so I go through this in detail. We talk about all these things in detail. We do several examples, several breakdowns of tape. We look at historical tape together. The way that I learned how to read this was sitting. There's 10,000 shares that popped up. You see that? There was a 10,000 share buyer that popped up. That's decent size. Now, let's see if everybody looks at that and is like, oh, shit. Let's start buying. Let's start buying in front of it. Now, if they do nothing and do absolutely nothing, then that 10,000 is still not enough. That 10,000 is still not enough. But let's see if it's even there. This guy might have pulled it. He might have pulled it. There's liquidity that people throw on the book and then they take it right off, right? Technically, that's called, shit, I forgot. There's a term for it. It's what Narendra Singh got busted for They blamed him for the flash crash. It's basically flashing size that you know you're not going to. What is it? Spoofing, exactly. Order spoofing, right? So you're basically flashing size that you have no intent. You have no intent to fill, right? But how the fuck are you going to prove intent, right? How the fuck are you going to prove that when I put this 10,000 shares up there, that I didn't intend to get it filled? You know what I mean? I can cancel it whenever the fuck I want to, you know? But if you do it repeatedly to manipulate a market, then that's considered spoofing, in which case it is an illegal activity. However, everybody does it. Everybody does it. Because it's the easiest way to manipulate a particular name, right? All you got to do is flash some size out there, and everybody's like, whoa. Yeah, today's that day, Ben. They're just coming after these names. It doesn't matter what SPY's doing, bro. They're just coming after those Q names. And notice, 3360, 3350, nobody wants to sell. Nobody wants to sell. So you don't even have any aggressive sellers here. All you have is chop, which is why I think eventually, once buyers decide to pick up the ball here, they can get this thing up to $40 real quick. Real quick. Okay? There goes another SPY flop. All right. 33.90. You got some buyers here stepping up to 33.90. Let's see what happens at the 20. Again, watch these transactions. All we're doing is watching the character. We're watching the behavior. We're trying to put a not a number per se, but we're trying to put weight on buyers or sellers, supply and demand. That's all we're sitting here doing. Right now, this tape is dead. This tape is dead. You can see now how the spread also came in. There's no more dollar spreads anymore, right? So now the spread also came in. It also tightened up, right? And now we just kind of have dead action. So now look at this bid, right? So now that's the second time they kind of moved up a bid here. Let's see if it can actually go through 34.5. If it does, maybe you get a temporary pop here. There's your dip on Apple here, I think. Yeah, there's your dip on Apple, if you like the scalp. Keep an eye on that one. We could actually take a look at this one. Again, Apple, you can notice this tape is so different. Like, look at the spread, right? So that's why every single tape is different, right? You need to understand the character of that. Look at that. That was 10,000 shares that got chewed up in a second here. So 10,000 shares for Apple is nothing, you know? Okay, I'm probably going to start selling some premium. No doubt. No doubt. Okay. Again, 33.60, 33.50. That's kind of what we're watching for. And again, our theory is if we break 33 and sellers hold down 33, we should flush. But now, do we even think that can happen with this kind of tape? No. Why? Because there's no fucking sellers here. Nobody wants to sell this thing aggressively through 33.60. Let's take a look at this, right? Let's take a look at these transactions. Right? You got 2,000 shares here sitting at 61. And look at these transactions. They're just kind of, it's a couple hundred shares here and there, you know? So do we even have the sellers to blow through 33 right now? We ain't got them. You ain't got them. Right? So it's at these moments, then you decide, all right, you know what? Screw this thing, right? You put an alert out or something like that. You kind of check it. You check it in your watch list or whatever, and you say to yourself, all right, screw this GFAI. Call me when it does something, you know? And then you go to other names. You know, you might go to this Meta, you might go to this Netflix and buy this dip here on this Netflix. Let's take a look at this Apple. Right, you can see these things are a little bit exhausted up here. Maybe you get a dip at 162.5 on this Apple. That Google's been a laggard, right? So if we look at this thing over the last 5 days, right, it's kind of been a laggard here. Right, let's look at the last 15 days on all this stuff, right? Look at NVIDIA. You know, NVIDIA's been a weaker one. If you look at this AMD, meh, you know. Meanwhile, you look at this Apple, it looks a lot better. If you look at this Meta's at highs, bro. Meta's at high. This has been the one, man. This has been the one. And the flow here has been spot on here. Starting with that guy who bought. By the way, this guy bought at $170. So he bought right here, $2 million, and then he bought here another $2 million. And now look at this shit. And he bought November's, and he's still up fucking 100% on November calls. And he put down $4 million. After that day, there was tons of flow here that hit the Meta. All right, so let's go back to that GFAI. Notice here, it's doing fucking nothing. Okay, now finally we got some bids over 34 here. Let's see if we push through. Okay, so boom, they swept through the half. Let's see if they actually push. Or if sellers just dump it right back down to 34. Right, see that? Boom. Dump right back down to 34. Market order right there. There it is. There's your... Oh! Yo, they didn't limit it down, though. They didn't halt this shit. All right, now you got a different scenario here. Now what you want to do is you want to wait for some rallies and you want to start fucking shorting this thing is what you want to do. Now, if it comes back to 33, 34, you are screwed. Let me put this to you bluntly. You are absolutely screwed because what's going to happen right now is that shorts are going to want to pile in here. If they can't continue pressing it, you're going to have some trouble. So let's start playing around with this thing, all right? Let's start playing around with this shit. This piece of shit. This piece of shit. What's the limit down? Limit down is 29 and a half. Oof. All right, let's just start fucking around with this thing, right? So we went ahead and shorted another 500 shares here. All right, I want 20,000 shares is how much I want. Now the question is where the hell am I going to get it? Notice how quickly that happened, right? So I kind of want to wait for this thing to calm down a little bit and then start aggressively selling. So this is what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to put orders to get filled, right, at 32. Right? Let's short some at 32. You know, let's short some at 31.75. Right? Let's short some at 32 and a half. Okay? And let's just wait. Travis, no, absolutely not, because that's a market order. That was a market order. And again, I mean, you see it as it's happening, but that's a market order. But we know it's a market order. That's what makes the difference. You know what I mean? We know it's a market order. Somebody went market for 200,000 shares right there. So what do we know? We know somewhere back here there's a fat ass seller. There's a fat ass seller that maybe has more shares to sell, probably has more shares to sell, and you know, now might be a good time to put the chips in. You know? What's up with that KRE? Fucking doing nothing, right? BAC and all this stuff. Nvidia's red here. Where's that Apple? So now you got that fade on Apple. Would I buy it? Meh. Now look at the spread. Right? You see the spread widened out. So now you got 50 cents, 75 cents sometimes. Hold on this thing. Hold on. Junior Garcia is saying it might be Steven Ducks. 100%. It could be anybody. We don't know. It could be anybody. It could be a short. It could be somebody saying, yo, give me 200,000 shares short. I don't know how the fuck they got to locate for 200,000 shares, but shit, it could be. It could be. Speaking of which, let me get a locate for some more. Damn. I mean, this morning it was way easier. Oh, boy. There it is, guys. You know, we couldn't get more size, but now we're trading 29.5. Look, now, to me, any pop, I'm going to aggressively short, try to get up to my 20,000 shares, and then go for $22 or so on this thing. At least 25, you know, for the next couple of days here. It never halted. It never halted. Maybe it went fast market here. Peep Game is saying Nate probably has all the locates. It's possible. It's possible. Nate is the man. Oh, here we go. Oh no, that one didn't get accepted. A little bit, but nothing crazy. But now I can't get more locates, so I'm basically maxed out at about 10,000 shares. I think. Let's test it. I don't know. Let's just go ahead and short another chunk, right? That's 8,000. Yeah, I'm maxed out at about what did I say? 10,000 shares. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll start putting orders out for 30 and a half. And by the way, guys, what did we predict, right? We said, hey, if that guy went market for 200,000 shares, chances are they got more, and boom, look what happened. Now the question is does everybody fear it enough, and is this thing just done? So now you really want to take a look at this tape here, and you really want to make sure that sellers hold the stock down. Lucky Leprechaun is saying, why not play options? Somebody want to answer his? Somebody want to answer his question? Somebody want to smack the hell out of this dude? There's no fucking options. There's no fucking options. There is no options. No, don't call him a dummy. He's all right. He's all right. Again, it's just things you don't know to look for. And this is what the Master Course does, guys. This is what the Master Course does. All right? This is what I do. I sit there and I teach you what to look at. I teach you how to look at it. So that no matter what strategy you create, you know how to fucking shoot. You know how to put that shit in your holster. You know when to shoot. You know why. You got a reason. You got theories. You know, and you can execute. You can execute like a fucking player. You know what I mean? Most folks, they'll just come into this game and be like, all right, there's no rhyme and reason to it. Tape helps you zero in on what you need to be doing or need to not be doing, right? There's plenty of days where there ain't shit to do. There's nothing to do. You know, that day isn't today. You know, there's plenty of game out here. There's game out everywhere. You know, but you still need to narrow your focus in. You still need to understand what moves the markets, right? What behavior moves the markets? Remember, we're looking at millions of people sitting at their computer, just like me, just like you guys, on this fucking GFAI. Everybody is watching this thing. What are they doing? How are they acting? How are they agreeing on price? Remember the herd mentality. What is herd mentality? What is that? That means if something looks good, everybody's on that same side, right? If something looks shitty, everybody is feeling a certain way. How do those emotions feed through what you're reading here? In reality, you're reading emotions, guys. You're reading behavior. You're reading the collective emotion of millions of people sitting at their fucking computers looking at the same thing as you. That is what we are doing. All right? And most people don't understand this. That's all that we're doing. By the way, we tried to bid up right there, and then a seller dumped back down to the half. That's a refreshing seller right there, I think. Nope. Oh, it is. It is. At 34 and a half. At 30 and a half right there. How do I know it's refreshing? Because we've seen orders go off and then it comes right back. So should I sell in front of this guy? I don't know. No, right? So there's a 60 print and then boom, seller step right in front. All right, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's take another 500 shares right there. Right? There's a 40s getting printed. Let's see what happens here. Again, that is how we're doing it. That's the game that we're playing. Okay? If you need to understand the root of this shit. What moves this tape? What moves these charts that you're sitting there watching? Most people will just sit there and look at a chart. They don't see the value in this type of reading. But this is the type of reading that gets you piped in, man. That gets you connected, right? And that's what will help you make better decisions, better execution. It'll make you feel more confident, all right? And that's what I do. That is what I do in the Master Course. Because once you got the confidence, it doesn't matter if you take fucking losses. I take losses all the fucking time. I don't give a shit. Why? Because when my train comes, I'm on it. I'm on it. So you need that confidence, and that confidence comes in the form of understanding the structure of these markets. What are these dark pools? What is this liquidity that he's talking about? What are these spreads that he's talking about? Why is the options price the way it is? How come it's so fucking expensive? What is this implied volatility shit he's talking about? And I break it down to a very, very simple way, simple, no bullshit ass way, so that you can figure it out. And once you figure it out, it doesn't matter fucking what strategy you pick. You can make it work. All right. What do you think? Matt, should we wrap it up? Yeah? All right. Let me take some questions here. Any questions? What questions do you have? I'll pick a couple of good ones, and then we'll call it a day. Remember to hit up Matt. Schedule your call for the master course. Just talk straight to Matt. And Matt sits right next to me. This motherfucker sits next to me every day. Every day. All right, he'll tell you exactly what's included, what you're going to get. Remember, there's a lot of benefits too. This is the last time that we're doing the lifetime access. All right, I can't even stress how important this is. This is the last time we're doing the lifetime access. I have students that come back to me for literally over a decade now because they've been taking the class over and over and over and over and over because markets change. Markets change all the time. And we continue to improve the class. We continue to add freebies. Anyways, what, how to read dark pool prints towards your thesis. Now, that's a good question. Now, it's a tough one to answer, Arts, and I'm going to tell you why, right? Because you're not going to be able to easily figure out intent on a dark pool. And let me explain why. From a behavior perspective, if I'm looking at a spread, and I see prints go off on the bid. By the way, there's 1,000 shares here. There's been tons of shares printed at 80, and it hasn't gone through yet, FYI. So this might be a refreshing order here, too. Let's just get up to fucking 10,000 here. Security is not sure. Okay, so I only have 8,500 shares. Damn. So I'm maxed out here on the shares. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can get another. Let me see if I can get something. Nope. Okay, so the dark pool thing, all right? If I see a spread, right? Let's say I'm looking at 30 bucks by 30 and a half. It's easy for me to tell if somebody prints the offer. It's easy for me to tell, oh, that buyer went ahead and just hopped over the spread and took whatever was available right now. Right, and it's the same thing how we flag orders in the steam room, right? In the steam room, we flag the orders where people are like, "Fuck price, I don't care. Buy me 200,000 of this option and give me whatever the freak price I can get," right? And those are market orders, right? So they sweep the whole book. So anybody who goes market, let's say you go market short here, you sweep the whole book to get your liquidity, right? Now, dark pool is completely different, right? A dark pool is, remember, the dark pool has to accept your flow, right? They have to accept your flow. Dude, I really need 20,000 shares of this. I really need 20,000 shares of this, like right now. Are the rest of you looking at what I'm looking at? God damn. I need 20,000 shares. How the fuck am I going to get 20,000 shares? Well, what if I cut this down? Shit. God damn. All right, it is what it is. Now a dark pool. Remember, like, you have to know that entity that's going to give you liquidity. You ping them, so basically you have another box up here. You ping them, and you're basically like, yo, do you got any liquidity for me on this particular name? And then they'll go ahead and shoot out where they're sitting. And they usually sit just in between the spread somewhere. And you ping out and you say, okay, how much do you need? 2,000, 3,000, whatever the hell it is. And boom, you agree on the price. And then you see the print come off here. That's how it works. And it works very quickly, of course. But you need to have a relationship with that dark pool, right? So these are only folks that have, a good amount of size, a good amount of flow. Here you go. Pop over here over the half. Let's see if this thing can get some buyers going. And then maybe I'll get another chance anyway to short some more. If I can get some fucking shares, of course. Where was I going with this? So yeah, that's how the dark pool works, right? It's very different from the lit pools, okay? And it's difficult to gauge aggression, right? Now, the one thing I will say for the dark pools is that you want to see if there's a lot of execution going, off some of the dark pools, right? If there's a good amount of size happening on the dark pools, then you can start to see like, yo, somebody's really moving weight through the dark pools here, which means they don't want to affect the price of the stock. They want to get as much liquidity or get out of as much freaking shares as they can without affecting price change on the stock. Remember, that's why you use a dark pool in the first fucking place, okay? That's why you use a dark pool in the first place. So if I'm a big institution or if I'm a big trader and I'm like, yo, man, I need some fucking size here. What do you got for me? I'm gonna ping out to everybody, all my connections, and be like, yo, I need 100,000 shares. What you got for me? What you got for me? And they'll give you a price, and that's how the game works. It's kind of like the floor trades, the large block trades and things like that. Anyway, so that's my answer to that. Simon is saying, any trading positions open in the PR office? No. Any other questions? I'll take one more question. Stop calling me. All right, it's cool, man. Anybody else? Question? Amazon, somebody bought 102 calls. Yo, people are buying these fucking Q names, man, for real. People are buying these Q names today, for real. Market here now is getting bid. So now I like the short puts. I'm going to start writing those. So let's take some size out and start writing those. Right, so we go to, what do we go to? We go to, I don't know. Let's go to 45. This is trading 30 cents. Let's go to 4100s. Yeah. So I'll probably write this 4080s, 4090s. I'll probably write these at some point. What's my overall macro market outlook? Is weed legal? What the fuck kind of questions are these? Esteban is saying, do you think names like GFAI have big institutions behind them, or it's still considered a small cap now for trading? I mean, I don't think it's worth trading. I don't think, after trading this for a couple of days, I don't think it's worth trading. I really don't. Anyways, all right, guys. Yeah, absolutely. You can join the Steam room. Adam, man, no doubt. Happy to do it, man. How did you develop the ability to keep your composure, I think what you're saying, when you're down and still looking for more shorts available? I mean, you got to work on that, man. You know what I mean? This is about emotional intelligence. And remember, we're talking about behavior here. That is also tape. Tape is behavior. So your behavior is printed and written on the tape somewhere. It's just somebody needs to know how to read it. You know what I'm saying? It comes out as transactions, sure, but at the end of the day, these are emotions here. You know, this is behavior that we're reading. We're trying to assess and theorize what the collective behavior of all these people together is going to be. Right now, look at this GFAI. Whoever sold those shares is done selling these shares now. Right? And now, look, buyers come right back. Look at this, 6,000 shares bid right up. Right? That's a decent amount of size. So this thing shoots right back up. Look at the market here, too. Check out the market. Check out the market right here, you know? So yesterday, they put this thing all the way up to 413. It looked like we were going to break out. And now today, boom, look at what we're seeing here. You know? And now notice the rotation. They're not buying banks, right? They're not buying banks. What are they buying? They're buying fucking Apple. Anybody buy that dip? They're buying Apple. You know, they're buying Netflix. They're buying all this shit. You know, and then of course the freaking Meta, man. All right, guys. This platform is Centerpoint, and we have a special deal with them that we can offer for you guys too for reduced commissions. Locates here if you guys want to trade that stuff. Yeah, Hendrik is saying, hey, Lucci, if tape is based on behavior, how do indicators apply to that behavior? 100%. It's like those people who do the VWAP stuff, you know? It's like, okay, a large a large, if I want to buy 500 shares, for example, 500,000 shares, right, and I'm a mutual fund, right? I don't execute that order myself. I don't execute that order myself. I shop it out to a execution order algorithm, right? A group that basically executes the order for me. And you know what they do? They buy the VWAP. They buy 100, 200 shares on the VWAP. Every time the shit goes to the VWAP, boom, they go ahead and buy. So there's programs out there doing all kinds of shit, man. All kinds of shit. The question is how much of that behavior can you read, and how aggressive, you know what I mean? How aggressive are they at certain points, right? Because at certain points, everybody's trapped. Everybody's trapped on the wrong side. At certain points, just like this GFAI, everybody, shorts had to cover. Some kind of concept is happening. And where the biggest moves happen is where the most people are trapped, right? And now, can you understand that behavior? You know what I mean? Anyways, all right, guys. All right, guys, take it easy. I'm going to go ahead and sell some puts. And, yeah, ya tu sabe. Have a great day, guys.